Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic.
The sun has just set on the village hidden in the leaves, Konohagakure. It was the day of the Genin selection exams. One young yellow-haired boy is in the middle of the woods trying his hardest for his makeup exam. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Screamed Naruto. Poof! A dozen clones of him came into existence. Yatta! Yelled Naruto. The scroll said that these were solid clones. Better test one out to make sure so I don't fail the exam, he observed. Come here, he told one of the clones. As it walked over, Naruto suddenly charged said clone and kicked it in its face, leaving only enough time for him to see its slightly shocked face before it puffed once more out of existence. Strange, my face kind of tingles like something struck it. Maybe I'll ask Gigi about it later. What should I do now? I've already mastered the jutsu, so I guess I could just rest. Murmured Naruto to himself as he sat on the ground to wait for a teacher to grade his work. About an hour later, a man in black pants and shirt with a green flak jacket, his hair in a pineapple-looking ponytail and a scar across his nose came into the clearing and found Naruto just napping on the ground. He steals a scroll of powerful and forbidden techniques from the most important person and place in the village, and when I find him he's taking a nap in the middle of nowhere. He asked himself as he walked up to the young blonde. Coughing lightly into his fist, he gathered as much air into his lungs before shouting at Naruto, his head somehow growing as he did so, "You moron, what the hell are you doing?" Quote. Naruto, scared out of his sleep, was momentarily terrified, convinced that the village was under attack or something, before realizing he had company. "Iruka-sensei, I found you, Datebeo!" shouted Naruto. The now identified Iruka sighted as he pinched the bridge of his nose, sighing before telling Naruto, "No, I found you. Now what are you doing out here and why did you take the forbidden scroll?" The blonde looked at Iruka with a rather confused expression on his face. "What do you mean, Iruka-sensei?" asked Naruto. "I'm here training for the makeup exam," he said as if it were the most obvious thing in the world, like the color of the sky, or the awesomeness of ramen. "He came out here to train. He's exhausted and was napping when I got here. How long was he working?" "Wait, what? What do you mean makeup exam, Naruto?" asked the scarred man. Naruto smiled as he proudly hefted the large scroll. "Mizuki-sensei said that if I got the scroll from the Hokage and learned a jutsu from it, I could graduate since I failed the normal exam." "That's strange. Why would Mizuki tell him that? Unless..." All of a sudden the sound of shuriken and kunai being thrown reaches his ears. "Naruto, get down!" shouted Iruka as he tackled his student. "Well done, Iruka, I didn't think you had it in you," shouted someone in a tree on the edge of the clearing. He was a silver-haired man in the same outfit as Iruka, but with a pair of gigantic throwing stars on his back. "Mizuki, what is the meaning of this?" shouted Iruka at the silver-haired man. "I've gotten rather bored here, Iruka. This place has been holding me back from day one. So I found a new master, one that will give me power. All I needed was a little gift and all that I ever wanted would be mine." "You are insane, Mizuki," shouted Iruka. "Come Naruto, let us leave this place and fulfill our every dream. Give me the scroll," screamed the demented silver-haired man. "Don't give it to him, Naruto," yelled Iruka. Cackling, Mizuki simply asked, "And why should he listen to you, the one who liked and hated him all his life, Do you want to know why you are hated, Naruto? Why no one loves you or ever will?" "Stop, Mizuki," yelled a desperate Iruka. "It's because you are the nine-tailed fox that attacked the village 14 years ago. It was you who killed the fourth Hokage. It was you who killed Iruka's parents." "What?" thought Naruto. "Is that true? Am I just a monster? Did I kill all those people? Did I kill the Yondaimon, Iruka's parents? If that's true, then I guess I deserve to be treated this way." "No, he's not," shouted Iruka. "He's just a child who's had a burden no man should carry on his own, thrust upon his shoulders. He is Naruto Uzumaki, shinobi of Konohagakure no Seto." Naruto then remembered all the people who made his lonely existence bearable, the Hokage, Iruka, and the family who ran his favorite ramen stand, the Ichirakus, and he began to smile. Thanks Iruka-sensei, I know who I am Naruto Uzumaki, the next Hokage. Quote, Mizuki just stood there and smirked. How can you be a Hokage if you're dead? He asked as he grabbed several shuriken and kunai and threw them at Naruto. Shit, thought Iruka as he tackled Naruto, getting him out of the line of fire, thus making the kunai hit him instead and pinned him to a tree. With Iruka pinned to a tree by kunai, Mizuki wound up one of his giant shuriken about to throw it, with Naruto watching from where Iruka knocked him down to. Say goodbye to your demon brat, Iruka, screamed the insane Chunin, as he let fly with the shuriken. No, 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 I can't let Iruka-sensei die like this. But I'm not strong enough to beat him. Do you want power, boy? What? He thought as he fell into the blackness. Inside Mindscape, Naruto woke up groggily, before shortly realizing he was in a strange sewer, lying in the water. EWW. Why am I in a sewer? Wait, Iruka-sensei. He started to panic slightly before realizing that before he could help his sensei, he had to find out where he was. Noticing the water was flowing like a river, he decided to go upstream to see where the source of the water was. Following the pipes, he soon came to a large chamber with an area sectioned off by gigantic metal bars closed with a paper with the kanji for seal on it. Feeling this was important, he walked up to the gate, only to jump back as a large pair of red eyes opened behind it, as well as a large toothy disturbing looking grin appearing and a deep booming laughter being heard. So my warden finally graces me with his presence, said the same voice he heard in the forest. Where am I? Asked Naruto. We are in your head, kid. The place that represents your mind, said the voice. Why you're the fox, aren't you? The Kyuubi no Katsune, asked a terrified Naruto. That I am, kid. So do you want my power? Asked the fox. I do want power, but not yours. I want my own power so I can protect my precious people. If it is not my own, it would be a hollow victory, replied the young blonde. The Kyuubi stared at Naruto for a few moments before bursting out into laughter, and saying, Good answer, kid, you are a warrior born. Tell you what, I think I'll give you a new power. Don't ask me how it works as I only understand the basics myself. So do you accept? That depends on what this power is, and what you want in return, said Naruto, slightly suspicious of the giant fox. Once again the fox burst into laughter. This power is what I believe you mortals call a Kekkei Genkai. And all I want is a chance to see the outside world. Before Naruto could protest such an arrangement, the fox cut him off and continued his speech. I don't expect you to open the doors right now or anything like that. That comes later when I eat you. Right now I just want you to tear off a small part of the seal so that I can see through your eyes, smell through your nose, hear what you hear. After 14 odd years of being locked in a cage in the sewers, I've gotten rather bored. How large a part of the seal? Asked Naruto. About the size of your thumb, replied the Kyuubi. Yes, the ripping off a part of the seal thing is a cliché, but I don't care. Closing parenthesis. Isn't a Kekkei Genkai something you get from your parents? If you are asking what I think you are asking, then yes, if you have children then they could have this bloodline as well. Quote, what kind of Kekkei Genkai would I get? It is a power called Black Blood and it turns your blood black as well as allowing your complete control over it. Again, I don't know what exactly you can do with it, but I can think of a few things, such as forming weapons with it and making a type of armor, or simply surrounding someone with it and crushing them to death, as well as increasing the amount of blood in your body by about triple the amount. Kyuubi explained. What do you mean triple the amount? Questioned the confused blonde. The average human adult has 5 pints of blood within their body, little over a gallon. Triple that and you get 15 pints, which is just shy of 4 gallons. You on the other hand are a 14-year-old midget kid, so you don't even have that much. But how would I get it out of my body without cutting myself or getting hurt over and without killing myself due to blood loss? Asked Naruto, a little miffed about being called a midget. Well, you see, when you use your powers, your skin will open up like a lid, think Kimimaro, and when you're finished getting the blood you'd need, you'd simply close up without a trace, or I'd suggest you put as much into one of those sealing scrolls you mortals are so proud of as you can. As for dying from loss of blood, you'd only need the normal amount to live, which means you essentially have 2 bodies worth of blood to go through before you enter the proverbial danger zone. That does sound pretty awesome. Alright, I'll do it, Datebyo, shouted Naruto, as he walked up to the gates. He reached up to one corner of the seal and slowly and meticulously ripped off a piece no larger than the last digit of his thumb. All of a sudden, large amount of a red substance started to crawl towards and engulf Naruto. As it touched him, it started to burn, and he began screaming from the pain. HMPH. Did I forget to mention this was going to hurt? Oh, how careless of me, said the fox, without a hint of remorse in his words. Naruto soon collapsed on the floor of his sewer, panting for breath as he glared at the fox. Is there anything else I should know? Let's see. Well, since this isn't a Dojutsu Kekkei Genkai, there are elements that combine to make it. In this case, along with whatever your natural affinity is, you now have an affinity for earth and wind. Quote, what do you mean? Asked the clueless blonde. Very well, you idiot kid, I'll explain. Mortals usually have what are called affinities to certain elements, which means that using a jutsu from that element is not as taxing as another. Take your for example, unless your natural affinity was already for fire. Now that you have that black blood, a fire jutsu will always cost more than either an earth jutsu or a wind jutsu. Quote, Sugoi, so I have 3 affinities now? Asked a suddenly hyperactive Naruto. Silence, screamed the fox, instantly getting Naruto to calm down. You might have 3 affinities kid, earth or wind might have already been your natural affinity. Scolded the fox, leaving a sheepish Naruto. So my blood is now black. You said I had complete control of it. How does that work? How do I control it? Wondered Naruto. Yes, it is, and from my understanding you simply have to channel chakra to your black blood and then it will bend to your will. Now I believe you have a teacher to save kid. Quote, Iruka sensei. Holy crap, I forgot all about him. How do I get out? How do I get out? Screamed the now panicking Naruto as he ran around in circles waving his arms around like a maniac. If you allow me to speak, I will answer you. If you wish to leave, all you simply have to will it. But before you go, I don't suppose you could do something about this place, could you? It is rather depressing, said the fox. I'll do as much as I can when I have the time, promised Naruto, even as he felt once again that he was falling into darkness. Real world. Naruto came to just in time to see that the giant shuriken that Mizuki had let fly had moved perhaps a foot from where it had been before he had met with the fox. Thinking quickly, he remembered the fox's words on how to control the blood and his idea of using it for armor. He jumped between Iruka and the shuriken, and held up a hand palm out. He then focused as much chakra as he could into the blood vessels in his forearm and hand and thought about the blood hardening. As Iruka watched in horror, and Mizuki watched in glee, the shuriken got closer and closer and then struck Naruto's outstretched hand. But rather than cutting his hand off, it barely cut him before it stopped. Mizuki and Iruka watched awestruck as Naruto tossed the shuriken to the side and growled at the silver-haired man, just try to hurt Iruka-sensei, you piece of shit. I'll repay you anything you do to him 1,000 times over. Naruto, how did you do that? Mumbled Iruka to himself. What can you do, little fox? You are just a poor little abomination that needs to be put out of its misery. After I kill you, I am going to kill Iruka as well, screamed Mizuki, cackling insanely. We'll see about that, team, yelled Naruto as he made a classic hand sign, Teju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, multiple shadow clone jutsu. Quote, 1,000 Narutos popped into existence and stared with utter hatred at Mizuki, who was starting to sweat profusely. Bring it on, little demon. You are nothing compared to my might. Quote, suddenly a strange black substance came out of and covered every Naruto's cut right hand, covering his arm up to the elbow. After every Naruto had his arm covered, they charged the silver-haired man. On kicking later, a beaten and bloodied Mizuki lay on the ground as a sweaty and exhausted Naruto stood panting over him. He then walked over to Iruka and said, I did it, before pulling all the kunai out of his friend. Naruto, can you sit down and close your eyes? Asked Iruka to a very surprised Naruto. Sure, Iruka-sensei, said Naruto. Soon he felt a strange weight on his head and had to resist the temptation to look. All right, Naruto, said Iruka, causing the blonde to open his eyes. The first thing he noticed was that Iruka no longer had his Hitai-8, which caused him to feel his forehead. He then started to tear up as he felt Iruka's Hitai-8 on his head. "Congratulations, Naruto. You passed this year's Genin selection exam," said Iruka with a proud smile towards his favorite student. He was then tackled to the ground by an ecstatic blonde blur, which was laughing merrily. "Nay, Naruto, how did you do that anyways? The thing with the shuriken in your arm?" wondered the scar-faced man. "Oh, that's easy, Iruka-sensei. It was a Kekkei Genkai that the fox gave me." "You're damn right I did," said the fox, startling Naruto for a second, but he decided to worry about it later. Iruka wondered for a second if he had gone crazy or was sleeping, but he had always been sane and he was in too much pain to be asleep. "I'm sorry," asked a deeply confused Iruka. "When Mizuki-team threw that shuriken at you, the fox pulled me into my, I think he said, mindscape or something. Anyways, it asked me if I wanted power, and I told it only if it was my own power to protect my precious people, or else it would be a hollow victory. It then gave me a bloodline which allows me to freely control my blood as well as tripling the amount of blood in me. He then told me that if I didn't have it before, then I have both an earth and a wind elemental affinity. It then said that I can give the ability to my kids if I had any." The new Genin ecstatically explained to his sensei. "Interesting, Naruto. Well, now that this whole fiasco is over, how about we give the scroll back to Hokage-sama, and then go have some ramen to celebrate?" Quote, "Yatta, ramen," screamed the blonde while going to pick up the almost forgotten forbidden scroll. As they left for the Hokage's office, neither one noticed nor cared that the Hokage's elite forces, the Ambu, showed up and took Mizuki away. At the Hokage's office, Hiruzen Sarutobi, otherwise known as the Sendaime Hokage, looked at the young man who he considered a grandson and his teacher as they explained the events of the night. "And then Naruto picked up the scroll and we came here, Hokage-sama," finished Iruka, who was standing at attention in front of the Hokage's desk. "Very well. Mizuki has been apprehended and been placed in a cell at the T&I department. As for you, Naruto, I'm very proud you were able to beat Mizuki even if it was foolhardy and reckless of you. I am going to approve Iruka's decision and make you a full genin. I am also going to give you the mission pay for AB rank and put one on your record. Report tomorrow at the academy at 10 to receive your team assignments. But before you go, I'd like a sample of your blood so that we may run some tests on it to see what you can do," said the Hokage. "What do you mean sample, Gigi? And didn't I already tell you what I can do?" asked a thoroughly confused whiskered genin. "Well, Naruto, some abilities have uses that can only become apparent after serious study and deliberation. I just want you to live up to your full potential," explained the aged man. "All right, Gigi, do you have something to keep the blood in?" The Hokage thought for a minute before he called, "Neko-san." After he called, a young woman with purple hair and a cat mask appeared kneeling before the Hokage, and asked, "What may I do for you, Hokage-sama? Do you have some kind of container that we may use for a sample of Naruto's blood?" asked the Hokage. "No, I do not, sir, but Tora is a medic, so he may have one," she replied as a man in a tiger mask appeared with a glass vial. "Naruto, can you put some blood in the vial or do you need some sort of assistance?" asked Hiruzen. "Thanks, Gigi, but Kyubi told me how to do this," he said excitedly as he held out his left hand palm up. After about 3 seconds, 2 bisecting lines appeared on his palm and the skin split and blood flowed out. The 4 adults in the room looked worryingly at Naruto only to see that he didn't look uncomfortable in the slightest. After an amount of blood had come out, his hand closed without even so much as a scar. Fascinating, thought the Hokage and Tora. The blood then began to hover in the air in a sphere about 3 inches across, and Naruto started to sweat from the concentration needed to do this. The blood then began to flow into the vial. Naruto only got about 3/4 of it into the vial before his concentration broke and the rest fell onto the floor, the Hokage's desk, and Tora's gloved hand. "Sorry, Gigi," said Naruto as he looked at the floor and the desk where his blood had fallen, looking both mentally and physically exhausted. "It's all right, Naruto," replied Hiruzen, "it can be cleaned. Now how about you go home and rest? You have a big day tomorrow." "But Gigi," whined Naruto, "Iruka-sensei promised me ramen." Quote, Smiling, Iruka replied, "Tell you what, Naruto, I'll take you for ramen tomorrow. Right now you look dead on your feet." "How about it? I'll hold you to that, Iruka-sensei," promised Naruto as he bid everyone goodbye. But just as he was about to leave, he remembered something and turned to the Hokage, much to the surprise of everyone present. "Hey Gigi, is there something I should know about Cage Bunshin? Because I was testing it out and I kicked one in the face, and after it disappeared it seemed like I knew what it felt like to be kicked in the face." Quote. Everyone just looked surprised at his observation as Hiruzen decided to tell Naruto of the perks of the Cage Bunshin Jutsu. "Well Naruto, the Cage Bunshin is a very special technique in that when a clone is dispelled, its memories are transferred back to the user and any other remaining clones. So anything that you're the clones do you learn as well?" Naruto scrunched his face up in thought, then asked, "So if one of the clones memorized a book and then dispelled, I'd memorize the book as well?" Quote. The others just looked surprised at his observation. "Yes Naruto, that is exactly correct. It also works with jutsu or chakra control exercises. If a clone masters something, then you get the experience and you master it as well. Something that would take a 2 hours would only take 1 with a clone, and something that takes a year would only take a month with 12. It is a great training tool, and since you have such high chakra levels, you could make hundreds of clones and you could master pretty much anything easily." Quote. At this point Naruto had sparkles in his eyes as he considered the possibilities of what his Gigi had said, and then he grew slightly confused. "Nee Gigi. What are chakra control exercises?" The Hokage looked slightly exasperated and simply told Naruto that he would tell him next time Naruto came for a visit. After some grumbling on Naruto's part, he left to go sleep. After Naruto had gone, he turned to Tora and told him with the utmost seriousness in a tone that said, "Do not this up. I need you to go to the hospital and have the leading hematologist run every single test imaginable twice on the sample. I don't care if he's sick with only hours to live. This power was born of the fox, and I don't want any unneeded complications. Do you understand me, Tora?" "Hey, Hokage-sama," said Tora as he disappeared to do as the Hokage told him. After he left, Hiruzen dismissed Neko, sighed and turned to Iruka. "What do you think? Can we trust Naruto's new powers?" Iruka thought for a moment before replying, "We may not be able to trust his new ability, but I place every trust imaginable in Naruto." Quote. "I agree Iruka, but it is better to be safe than sorry. I'm going to be putting a tail on Naruto for a while to make sure his new ability doesn't have drawbacks," said the now rather solemn Hokage. "How long will this tail be on him?" asked the Chunin. Hiruzen thought about it and said, "Until his first C-rank mission." Quote. Iruka seemed to accept that and bid the Hokage good night. After he left, the Hokage swiveled his chair to face the window and sighed. "It's going to be a long next few days." Single quote. After Naruto had done all the things necessary to go to bed, he crawled inside, and just as he was about to drift into unconsciousness, "Kit, we need to talk." Quote. Mindscape. Naruto once again felt himself falling into the darkness, except this time he rather welcomed it. He again found himself in front of the cage. "What do you want, furball?" asked a tired Naruto. "Screw you, Kit, I just wanted you to make good on your promise to fix this abysmal sewer," retorted an annoyed fox demon. "What do you want me to do?" inquired the blonde. "I don't give a damn as long as there's more green," grumbled the fox. Naruto thought for a moment and then closed his eyes. When he opened them up, it was an improvement. They were now in a cave with the stalactites and stalagmites acting as the prison bars, with sunlight pouring in through holes in the ceiling, which allowed moss to grow all over the place. One thing that was similar was the steady drip, drip, drip of water upon the small pools that were everywhere. All in all, it was a rather beautiful place for those poetically inclined. Which sadly neither inhabitant was. "What the hell is this?" roared QB. "It's the best I could do on such short notice, and if you don't recall, I had a life or death struggle not 2 hours ago. I'm tired and I want to sleep. Also, you said you didn't care as long as there was more green," argued, whined Naruto, pointing to the moss. The fox, realizing the blonde had a point as well as not liking his own words being used against him, decided to remain quiet. "So may I leave now?" asked Naruto. "Not yet, Kit. I want to have a word with you about your conduct as a ninja. I want you to get your head in the game. Act serious. I have a reputation to uphold." What do you mean, QB? I do take being a ninja seriously. No, you don't, kid. You treat it as if it was some big game. Well, newsflash, it's not. It's a life filled with death and isolation. In your time, you will have to kill, and you will most likely also be killed. And before you say otherwise, look at your Gigi. How many shinobi are his age? How many are half his age? Naruto sat there trying to think of a comeback. Listen to me and maintain my image, and I will do all I can to help you, but know this. If I catch you slipping up, I will devour your soul in an instant. Do I make myself clear? Naruto, after a moment's thought, nodded. Alright, QB, if you think you can help me, I will do as you say. But so help me, if you lead me down what I think is the wrong path, I will not hesitate to turn around, said Naruto to the fox, with eyes shining with determination. After a brief stare down, both parties grinned. This was going to be an interesting relationship. The next day, as Naruto awoke from his slumber, he began to remember the events from last night. Man, that was one crazy dream, he said as he began stretching. I agree with you, kid. I am too good to be true, said the Kitsune, startling Naruto enough where he fell out of bed. What the hell? Yelled Naruto as the QB laughed at him from inside his head. Wow, kid, you really are dumb as a brick, said the QB, ignoring the indignant. Oi, weren't you supposed to do something today? Quote, oh, I get assigned to my Genin team today, shouted the ecstatic blonde ninja. As he started to get dressed, he suddenly found himself flinching at the sharp reprimand coming from within his head. I swear to whichever god you believe in most that if after today you wear those disgusting orange eyesores, I will follow my brother and give you such horrible nightmares you won't sleep for a month. Quote, what's wrong with my jumpsuits? Shouted an indignant Naruto. They are abominations, and to throw them out would do a disservice to the trash. As well as they are highly impractical in the field. You might as well just hold up a gigantic sign that says, over here, come kill me. Also, you don't have to say your answers out loud. While it would be funny to see the villagers' reactions to you talking to yourself, I'd hate for you to be in a room for crazy people. Quote, after a little more arguing, QB managed to convince Naruto to give up the jumpsuits. Let's talk about at the academy. As Naruto was walking in to get assigned to his team, he nearly bumped into another person. This boy was Kiba Inuzuka, another graduate who had fang tattoos on his face and what to Naruto seemed like a strange obsession with dogs. Hey dog, what are you doing here? Only the people that graduated should be here, asked Kiba, shouting for no real reason. As Naruto was opening his mouth to respond, he listened to what QB told him to do, and so he just smirked, pointed to his Hitai 8, and walked past the flabbergasted dog lover. Looking around for a seat, he decided to take one near the middle of the class, in an empty row, and just observe the rest of the class. After a while, twin purple and red blurs shot into the classroom. One. As they stopped just inside the door, you could tell it was two young girls, one a platinum blonde, the other a pinkette. As they went off on each other about Kami knows what, QB decided to strike up a conversation. What kind of kunoichi has pink hair? Shut up, QB, Sakura-cha. Konoha Gates noon. Wow, shouted the twins, as they looked upon the massive stone and wood structure that were the gates of Konoha. If you think this is awesome, just wait until I show you the rest of the city, exclaimed Naruto as the group started to make its way to the Hokage Tower. This place is rather interesting, said a rather withdrawn Haku, but before Naruto could comment on her, to him, strange new behavior, Zabuza asked, where are we going? Quote, the Hokage Tower, in order to report on the mission, get the four of you situated, and to show what Naruto retrieved for his clan, explained Kakashi. You mean our clan? Shouted Kihi as he playfully bopped Kakashi on the head from his position on the Naruto clone. Yo Naruto, I didn't think you had it in you. Two kids, when do I get to meet the mother? Shouted a familiar voice. As they all turned, they saw that it was Team 8, and the one who had yelled was a boy named Kiba who had black slit-like pupils, no irises, red fang-shaped tattoos on his cheeks, and was for some reason wearing a fur-lined winter coat with a dog named Akamaru on top of his head, and wearing his leaf Hitai 8 on his forehead. Why do you humans love dogs so much? They may be loyal, but that's because they're stupid. Now if you had a fox clan, that I would understand, commented the fox. Actually, dog breath, this is my Ototo-kun Uzumaki Kihi and my Imuoto-chan Uzumaki Asagao, said Naruto, trying to hold in his laughter at the QB's remark, to the gobsmacked team, as Team 7 continued onto the Hokage Tower. Kiba, pulling out of his disbelief first, caught up to the team, put his hand on Kei's shoulder and said, I feel your pain. Oi, shouted Naruto, just for that, I'm not going to give you the thing I was gonna. Quote, oh, and what's that, an excuse for me to kick your ribbon? No, I was going to give you something I found on our mission, but never mind. NN Naruto-kun, why you shouldn't judge Kiba so harshly? Stuttered a girl named Hanata. She had blue hair, white pupil-less eyes, a fur-lined lavender jacket, and a perpetual blush, and was wearing her Hitai-8 around her neck like Naruto's Uzu-1. Alright, grumbled the blonde as he put down Asagao. Here, I thought you might like these, he said, unsealing the Demon Brothers' gauntlets. Holy shit, these things are awesome, shouted Kiba, who had stars in his eyes. Damas, where did you get those? Asked their sensei, a woman named Kurenai. She had red eyes, black hair, and a dress that looked to be made out of bandages with a thorn plant stem pattern, with a single red sleeve, with her Hitai-8 like Kiba's. Alright kid, I gotta say that I approve of that one too. I got them off of the Demon Brothers, started Naruto. Kurenai, the woman offered. Kurenai sensei, Naruto finished. The Demon Brothers, how on earth did you get those from them? She asked. Spoils of war, Kurenai sensei, responded Naruto as he handed the gauntlets to Kiba, picked up Asagao again, and the group continued onto the tower. A little large, don't you think? Asked the last member on the team, a boy named Shino, with black sunglasses, slightly gravity-defying brown hair, and a large coat with the collar up covering everything up to his nose, wearing his Hitai-8 like Kiba's and Kurenai's. I know a place where you could probably get them fitted, said Naruto. Really? Where? Asked Kiba, as the group entered the Hokage Tower. It's a place called Higurushi's. Quote, I know that place, it's supposed to be one of the best in the village, said Sakura. I've also got a little personal business to take care of there, commented Naruto. The three groups of ninja and two civilians, after waiting a little, entered the Hokage office to give their reports. Kurenai then gave her report for Team 8's successful D-rank mission and went back in line to listen to Team 7's report with her genin. We met up at the gates at 7:30, started Kakashi. Hokage's office 10 minutes later. And then we left Arashi-san behind and made our way here, finished Kakashi to the dumbstruck Hokage. Holy shit, Naruto has a Genkai, screamed a disbelieving Kiba. Yep, responded the blonde as he held up his hand to allow his blood to flow out to make a perfect model of Akamaru. Wow, due to the dangers and the effects of the C-rank mission, I will be marking it down as an A-rank mission in each of your records. However, you will only be getting the standard C-rank fare. As for the B rank, I'd like to have a word with Sasuke before I pass judgment, stated the Hokage. He then turned to Zabuza and Haku, so you two would like to become citizens of Konoha. And why should I let two missing Inyons join my forces? Asked the old man. Haku here was never actually a shinobi, so she's just a civilian with the Hyuten Kekkei Genkai, so no one would care if she joined a village. As for me, Kiri is too embroiled in their civil war to really care if I join a village. Also, I can teach Kenjutsu and things like that to anyone I deem fit, responded the demon. What do you think, Kakashi? Inquired the Hokage. I'd say give them a chance, said the Cyclops. Very well, Momochi Zabuza, you are hereby instated as a Junin of Konohagakure. You will be given an apartment, a leaf Hitai-8, and a Junin flag jacket, and a dojo if you request it, but will be placed under a year's probation. Meaning no solo missions over AC rank, no traveling outside the village other than for missions, a tale of Umbo inside the village, and you will be spending the night in the T&I department. Yukihaku, 1, you will be given the rank of Chunin, with the same stipulations as Zabuza, but if you wish to work in the hospital you may. Do either of you have a problem with this? Quote, actually, I would be appreciative if my daughter could live with me, replied Zabuza. Oh, daughter, alright then, thank you Hokage-sama, replied Haku. Alright Naruto-kun, I'd like you to tell me exactly what you found inside that vault. Asked the Hokage. Alright Gigi, but first, I'd like everyone but Kakashi-sensei, Asagao-chan, and Kihi-kun to leave. Kiba, wait outside and I'll take you to that armament store I was telling you about to get those claws fitted. Responded Naruto, shocking everybody there that he could call the most important and powerful man in the village, Gigi. What? It was just getting to the good part. Complained Kiba as he and the rest of his team left. Why can't we stay? Asked Sakura as Sasuke nodded. Because your mission client, your sensei, and your Hokage say so. Replied the third. I want to see what he found, so I am staying. Replied Sasuke. You will leave, now, said the Hokage. After a little bit of grumbling Sasuke finally left. Alright Jiraiya, you can come out now. Hiruzen told a seemingly empty piece of wall. Alright sensei, said a man who seemingly materialized out of thin air. He had long, spiky white hair, a horned Hittite with the kanji for oil, wooden gita, and green battle kimono with a red vest. Who are you? Asked Naruto. Who am I? I am the man who makes other men shake in fear, the man who makes women swoon with just a look, the man with the never-ending charisma, the world-renowned author, one of the Densetsu no Sennin, the legendary Toad Sage, Jiraiya. The man shouted doing a strange dance. Never heard of you, Naruto told the man who then face-faulted, so what are you doing here? Your family were seal experts, and since I have the most knowledge of them, I'm here to make sure nothing explodes and kills us all. Replied the Sennin. You are a seal master. After Jiraiya nodded he asked, can you teach me to be one too? I want to do my family proud. Sorry Jackie, I only teach apprentices. Now first of all I'd like to see this journal you found. Asked the Hokage. Before that, I'd like to make a few requests Gigi. Asked Naruto. And what would those be? Quote, I would like to apply for clan status, adopt Kihi-kun and Asagao-chan as my siblings, and put them into the academy. I don't see why any of those things would be a problem. Your family was a clan once, just in a different village, you just need to be at least Chunin to be a clan head though. The children are your actual blood and flesh family so there aren't any legal loopholes to stop you from adopting them, and anyone can go into the academy if they so choose. They'll just have to wait until the beginning of the next academic year. He said as he took out several forms. Naruto nodded and then placed the journal, the letter regarding his new Hori along with said garment, the 2 summoning contract scrolls, the sealing scrolls, and the swords on the desk. He then motioned his new siblings to do the same. Medical seals. I don't suppose you could let me see those, could you Jackie? Asked an interested Sennin, as the third picked up the journal and began to read. Sorry, but only clan members can learn those. Replied a smug blonde as he filled out the paperwork and described everything his clones had found. Smartass, thought an amused Jiraiya as he started to read the letter regarding the Hori. After the two of them had both finished reading the journal and the letter, they looked at the summoning scrolls, finding them legitimate. They then asked what was in the scrolls. All the stuff in the initial chamber is in this one, the IDs are in this one, and this one I have no idea because it was just sitting there with the summoning contracts. Replied the blonde, indicating the scrolls one by one. Alright Naruto, I will make the announcement about your clan tonight. Come here at around 7 for the meeting with the council. After that I'll show you to one of the empty compounds of the village set aside for new clans where you can show me the rest of what you found. Said Hiruzen. Gigi, I'd like to request that a shrine be erected in the compound so that I can place these IDs there and so that my future clansmen may remember the fallen. Quote, of course Naruto, when we go there, I will bring a carpenter friend of mine and he will build one wherever you ask. Alright Gigi, if that's all I'd like to show my now family and friends around the village. Said the Jinchuriki. Very well, dismissed. Replied the Hokage. Naruto and his siblings then retrieved everything that they had put on the desk and left the office. After the three of them had left, Jiraiya turned to the Hokage and asked, are you sure about this? I mean, the council is going to go ballistic if the Jackie tries to start a clan. Quote, I don't really care, he has all the right in the world to do so. All the members of his clan have innate understanding of seals, chakra that is more potent than normal, life forces that make it almost impossible to kill them unless you aim for the heart or the brain, and even then sometimes they survive, as well as Naruto having his Koketsu. Did you see Asagao-chan? She was reading that scroll on medical seals, and she didn't even look phased. And the weapon that Kihi-kun had sounded like a formidable tool. Quote, "What if the council demands that he hands everything over to one of the other clans?" asked Kakashi. "I'll tell them that if one of the clans wants something, they will have to give him something of equal value of theirs in return," said Hiruzen. "What of the girl, Haku?" wondered a concerned Jiraiya. "I will place her under my protection, to keep her away from people like Danzo," said the third sternly. "Will you teach Naruto?" asked Kakashi of Jiraiya. "I'll teach him seals, at least until you say it's alright to teach him other things, like the Toad Summon if he doesn't want to sign either of the ones he got in Uzu, and I'll teach him the Rasengan during the Chunin exams." Quote, "I don't really mind, you can teach him anything you wish. But before that, Hokage-sama, I'd like to recommend Naruto for either Ambu, or Special Junin on the basis of his chakra reserves that are almost as high as yours, as well as his exceptional sneaking and trap-making skills, as well as his sealing capabilities," said Kakashi. To say that both of the other men were shocked would have been an understatement of the century. "Do you really think that he's ready for that kind of work?" asked the Hokage. "He has been able to sneak around in, Kill Me, Orange, pranking people including yourself, and every clan in this village, several of which are renowned for their censors. A testament of this is when he painted the Hokage Mountain in broad daylight, wearing said orange, not get caught until after he started screaming at the village and banging paint cans together. And then outrun several Junin and Chunin, and only get caught by Iruka, who has proven time and time again to be the only one to catch him, as well as sneak into the Hokage mansion and steal the Forbidden Scroll the night he became a genin, not to mention that he was able to infiltrate both Zabuza's base and Gato's mansion, gathering intel which allowed us to complete the mission, save several lives, and bring a bloodline to this village. As for his seals, while we were on the mission, he was able to learn weight seals, as well as 3 types of barrier seals, one non-elemental, one Doton, and one Futon. He also learned the Cotton barrier seals while on the way, in, and from Uzu, 2, 3. And while they may have been rather weak barrier seals, they would be able to trap anyone of Chunin level skills. Very well Kakashi, if I believe he has done well enough in the Chunin exams, I will promote him accordingly, responded the oldest man in the room. Maybe I should teach the Jaki as soon as possible, mused the self-proclaimed super pervert and the Uchiha. Quote, while he will have the B rank in his record, he will not receive pay, he will also be receiving a permanent mark on his record for insubordination, responded the Hokage. Don't you think that's a little harsh? Asked Kakashi. No, I don't. It is the same punishment that I would give anybody, including you and Jiraiya. Quote, very well Hokage-sama, said the Cyclops as he too left the office. Outside the Hokage's office. All right Naruto, where's this place you were telling me about? Asked Kiba. I'm going there now with the little ones, so you can just follow me. Zabuza-san, Haku-chan, I can show you around the village if you don't mind a little detour first, said Naruto. I don't mind, said Haku as Zabuza simply shrugged. Great, so just follow me and I'll show you guys a good time, right guys? Asked Naruto to his siblings. Quote, aye sir. 4x, Higurushi's shop. Here we are, shouted the blonde. Higurushi's I've heard of this place, thought Zabuza as the group walked in. Welcome to Higuru, Naruto. How's it going? Haven't seen you in a while, what do you need? Said the girl behind the counter who turned out to be Tenten. Well Ten-chan, I was on AC rank so I've been gone a while. I am showing my new family and a couple of friends around the village and Kiba here would like a new weapon of his fitted, and these two are about to enter the academy. I'd also like to talk to your old man about something, responded Naruto. Hello there, what are your names? Asked Tenten of the twins. This is Kihi, said Asagao. This is Asagao, continued Kihi. And this is Araniki. They both finished, doing the same pose that they did when they introduced Arashi, making everybody who was there sweat drop. Nice to meet you. I'm Tenten. Name's Kiba. And this is Akamaru, shouted Kiba as Akamaru barked from on top of his head. My name is Haku, Tenten-san, and this is Zabuza-sama, said Haku, bowing to the girl. Okay, said Tenten, not really comfortable with the formality. I'll go get him, Naruto. Thank you. After Tenten left, the group started going around the store just browsing. Once again, Kihi immediately headed for the weapons section along with Naruto. As Asagao headed for a selection of battle kimonos, Kiba waited by the counter along with Haku and Zabuza. After about 5 minutes pass, Tenten came back with a man who they could only assume was her father. He was an average-sized man, well-muscled, had salt and pepper hair, and was completely covered in leather except for his head, which had a pair of black goggles on top. Hello there, I am the owner of this fine establishment. You can call me Higurushi, everyone does, said the man rather cheerfully. Hello Higurushi-san, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. I'd like to talk matters both personal and professional with you, and my friend here would like to get something fitted for him, said Naruto. Very well Uzumaki-san, I'll take your friend's measurements first and then we'll talk, responded Higurushi, now completely business. Kiba then placed the gauntlets on the counter and allowed the man to take his measurements. After he was done, he took the gauntlets away, telling Kiba to come back in 3 days with the payment amount, which, luckily, the genin could in fact pay. Alright Uzumaki-san, follow me and we can talk. Naruto then followed the man down a hallway and into a small room with a desk, and 3 chairs, 1 behind it and 2 in front. As Higurushi sat behind his desk, he motioned for Naruto to get comfortable. Now, what is it that I can do for you? He asked the genin. Instead of answering, Naruto took off his hori and put it on the desk along with the letter. He then took out his one remaining empty sealing scroll, several explosive notes, and 4 of each barrier seal. This is all rather nice, and I haven't seen barrier seals for years, but what do they have to do with me? Quote, well Higurushi-san, I was hoping to thank you. While you may not have made this hori personally, it did come from here, Naruto replied, indicating the letter which Higurushi picked up and started reading. I was wondering if you could recreate and or repair it if asked to for me and my young siblings when they become genin. As for the scroll, tags and seals, I was wondering if I could sell them to you. And why would I be interested in buying your seals? Asked the man who had just finished the letter. Because I made them. I was hoping to make a deal with you. I provide you with seals, and you provide me with a cut, as well as the necessary materials with which to make them. And as I learn how to make new seals, I show them to you, and you decide whether or not you wish to sell them with the same conditions. Answered the blonde. Very well, I'll give you a 20% cut, since I'll be the one providing the materials to make them. You will come in once a week to maintain a number of tags and such which we will agree upon at a later date. 5. As for the hori, you provide me with the seals and I could make and maintain a few for you. But, before we do anything, I'd like to test the authenticity of your work. I'd like you to make each of these things in front of me, and activate it. For the barrier seals, I do know a clone jutsu or two. Actually Higurushi-san, I know the Kage Bunshin jutsu, shadow clone technique, so I can use them to test the barrier seals. Quote, is that right? Very well then, come out back and we can get started, stated the store owner as he led Naruto out of the building. Alright, Higurushi-san, one moment please, asked the genin as he pulled out his sealing supplies. The first thing that he made was an explosive tag. He then slapped it on a tree, walked back to the man, and activated it. The resulting explosion blew the tree in half. He then took a blank scroll and made a new seal on it. Afterwards he dragged the top half of the tree on top of the scroll and with a poof, it vanished. Next, he took a rather large rock and handed it to the older man. After the man held it in his hand for a few seconds to feel its weight, he gave it back to Naruto, who started to write a new seal directly on the stone. When he was finished, he handed it to Higurushi again, who started pumping chakra into it, feeling it get heavier and heavier. He then flared his chakra twice in quick succession, making the extra weight disappear. 6. Finally, he made 31 clones. 16 of the Narutos then took out a piece of paper and wrote seals in 4 groups of 4. They then separated into 4 groups of 8, each with 4 in a square pattern, 7, 2 inside the square, and 2 outside the square. The first group of Narutos in a square then placed the seals on the ground with each of them inside the barrier facing out. One on the inside, and one on the outside then punched the barrier, showing that it was like punching a wall. They then threw kunai at the barrier and they simply bounced off. The barrier was then lowered as the 2 Narutos dispelled, and the 4 in the square position switched so that they were outside the barrier facing in. They then did the same round of tests with the same results. After the barrier had been proven effective, all 8 Narutos dispelled. The next group was the Doton barrier group. They did the same rounds of tests, starting this time with the kunai test. While the 4 in the square were facing out, the kunai thrown from the inside simply bounced off, while the ones on the outside simply fell with a dull thud, the reverse being true when the 4 were on the outside facing in. When the Narutos punched the barrier, while it had the same effects, it was simply isolated to each Naruto's arm. After that group had dispelled, the Katen group was up. The group once again started with the kunai test, with the ones on one side bouncing off, and the ones on the other side bursting into flames. With the punch test, the ones on one side simply hit while the clones on the other's arm burst into flames. Finally, there was the futon barrier. The group once again started with the kunai test, with the ones on one side bouncing off, and the ones on the other side being cut in half. With the punch test, the ones on one side simply hit while the clones on the other's arm got littered with little cuts, all the way to the elbow. That alone wouldn't really do anything, but together would quickly become a problem. 8. 9. After the whole display was finished, Higurushi stood there for about a minute and said, very well, I will sell your seals with the agreed upon conditions. Quote, pleasure doing business with you, Higurushi-san. A word of warning though, these seals are gay basic elemental seals, and while they can capture anyone up to Chunin levels, anyone with adequate sealing abilities, which apparently no one does, can rewrite the seals, and those with high enough chakra levels can simply overload them. Also they can't cover a large amount of distance, so the seals can be at most 5 yards away from one another. 10. Said Naruto as he shook the man's hand. I'll make sure to put that on the box, just make sure you come to me with any new seals you make. Come back tomorrow and we'll iron out the details. As Naruto turned back to leave, he realized that he had gotten an audience. Well done, Jaki. I think I have just reconsidered teaching you seal work, said Jiraiya as the group left the area. What changed your mind? Asked the dubious blonde. Well, it was mostly the fact that you learned how to do all that in a couple of months, and books can only take you so far. You have a lot of potential, and I'll teach you other things besides sealing if you'd like. Answered the pervert as the 3 of them entered the main part of the shop to find that Kiba had left and the others were simply waiting for him to arrive. Aniki, can we go see the village now? Asked an impatient Kihi. Sure, Ototo-kun, answered the blonde as he led the child to the window. He then made a sweeping motion with his arm and asked, see? Quote, that's not funny, Aniki, pouted the boy as his sister giggled. Alright, is there any particular place you'd like to see first? Asked Naruto of the group. How about the academy? Asked Kihi. The hospital, said Haku. The training grounds, said Zabuza. A restaurant, asked a blushing Asagao as her stomach growled. How about we go get something to eat? I'll show you guys where the academy and the hospital are, since they are close together, and then I'll take you on a tour of a few training areas. After that, I'll show you some of my favorite spots. Enquired Naruto. Sure, Aniki, agreed the twins as Haku and Zabuza nodded. Hey Jaki, I'll leave you guys to it. I'll see you when you meet back up with Sarutobi-sensei, said Jiraiya. Sure thing, Oyaji, I'm not old, you little brat, shouted an irate toad sage. Oyaji's funny, chorused the twins, giggling, causing Jiraiya to face fault. Whatever, he said as he left. 3 hours later, the group had just one more place to go before they finished Naruto's tour of the city, but the only things that had really happened were the group leaving Zabuza behind at one of the training grounds for a spar with a man with a green jumpsuit and massive eyebrows, 11, who Zabuza claimed, offended my eyes. And Tucci at Ichiraku's going into the back room of his stand and shouting something that sounded like, I'm so proud of you, after Naruto introduced Haku, while his daughter Ayame fawned over the twins. Come on you guys, I want to show you my favorite place in the whole village. shouted an ecstatic blonde. But Aniki, I thought you said the ramen stand was your favorite place. Pointed out Asagao. That's my second favorite, he amended as he led the group up a flight of stairs. After about 5 minutes of walking, the group came upon a platform on top of the Hokage mansion. Naruto then motioned the rest of them to follow him and sat down on top of the fourth Hokage's head with Asagao in his lap. Haku then sat down next to him with Kihi in her lap. This is beautiful, Aniki, remarked an odd Asagao. No wonder you like this place so much, Naruto-kun, mused Haku. Hey, Naruto-kun, you oblivious dumbass, thought the fox. You guys should come here during dawn or dusk. Naruto told them. Less than